stuff like all you guys, but for us, we decided to fix cars, yes. Fix cars and I do digital content.
Okay, interesting. You're the high-end one. He's the high-end. You're welcome, Natalie. Thank you for joining us. We are currently introducing ourselves, telling our audience what we do. Do you have a side hustle? If you do have a side hustle, what's the primary job? And what is the other one, the side hustle?
Sure, thanks for having me. My name is Dr. Natalie Bititure, and I work as the Chief of Staff for Simba Group. That's my main job. Simba Group has different businesses across different sectors like hospitality, telecom, energy, agriculture, education. So my job, I always say, is Chief of Problems. It's my job to move between each company, all the CEOs, the board, to make sure things are running smoothly. And in a business, there's no smooth day. So every day there's new problems, and I kind of have to go up and down dealing with that. So that's my main job that takes 90% of my time. And then my side hustles, I have several small businesses. One is the How Working Women's platform, which we started during COVID. And it's a community of women where we come together to talk about business and careers. We have guest speakers, we have market days, we have online events as well, and it's grown to about 5,000 women over the last 2 years, and it's very engaging, so it gives me a lot of joy. This year we launched an online education platform called Educata, where we have online trainings that are designed by Africans for Africans. So I got a lot of different coaches, professionals, consultants who have 10 years experience in their field, and they each made a short course that's affordable and self-paced. So as soon as you buy the course, you can immediately start doing it. And it's videos and worksheets so that people can have practical, useful skills, not just academic ones. And my first side hustle actually was Musana Carts, which is, we make solar-powered street food vending carts, and we work with Rolex vendors. So we do trainings for them as well in marketing and hygiene and customer service, and also give them the physical cart, which they pay back over time. So those three are my side hustles, which I try to make time for, as well as my business. And also there's overlap. So sometimes someone who works in one of the side hustles helps in the other, and they share office space and resources that we sort of make it work.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to coming back to you with the next question of how you're able to balance all those. But let's first have him introduce himself and tell us his side hustle.
Good evening. My name is Danze Edwin John. My main hustle is, currently I'm the head of marketing at Next Media. It's one of the leading multimedia groups for East Africa. And also I'm a general manager for a comms agency called NextCom. It's been in existence since 2018. But we're just rebranding ourselves. We've been an advertising agency before, now we're a communications agency. I'll explain in case someone ever asks. So that's my main job. Yeah, my other job is I'm a father, that's full time. So, yeah, trust me, it takes a lot. So my side hustles. One of the few registered esports athletes in Uganda. I'm a gamer, that's the other name they call us. So I do esports, I compete competitively with a couple of other regions. So I'm one of 6 currently in the country. We're going to expand. I also do content distribution. Content distribution means I move content from platform to platform. So what the influencers do, I make sure it goes to other places in case they're part of my my contract. So I do it for Deutsche Welle, I do it for BBC Africa, I do it for Voice of America. So I get their clips to move around on the Ugandan internet space. Lastly, I do a consultancy. The consultancy I do is in a registered company that I own with my wife. We do business or upskilling for existing businesses. We don't take them on as full-on businesses. We just give them consultancy and create jobs for other people that we recommend to take on the work full-time. Yeah. And then lastly, anything that comes, we work. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Thanks, Dan. So usually, I believe even in like the context of the word side hustle, They're usually additional jobs that are started for like people to supplement their income. But I see you have so many side hustles. Do you mind giving us an insight of what your motivation was?
You say you started with that.
No, you.
Anyway.
Because you also have quite a number of them.
Poverty. I fear poverty. That's the truth. Just give you background on how I am, where I am right now in terms of my main hustle is because as a hustler from the get-go. Our family has never been well off, but right now I'm making sure that we will be well off. So I do it for the entire family because I'm the first-born boy, but I'm the second last-born after 5 girls. Yeah, so I've been groomed well by girls. You know, women are very hardworking. But as a hustler, I used to put up things like this at events, pull up banners, teardrops, etc. I used to work for Sylvia Worry, so that's the job I used to do. I used to just pull up banners, etc. Then, unfortunately, people lost their jobs, so I ended up doing the in-store job, whereby I was designing t-shirts and things like that. So, basically, I just learned how to hustle from a hustler. Get it? So, inevitably, I realized that almost every job I got from that was through hard work and merit. And it's very hard for you to detach that spirit of hustling from yourself, even if you have a desk job. It's quite difficult. So I'm not going to call it a drug. It's just something that you just keep on doing all the time. And again, I said I fear poverty. I just have to make sure that I have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. So in case one day I am unfortunately let go of at our next media, I know I have a backup plan. So that's really my motivation.
Yes. How about you, Doctor? What motivated you?
I wouldn't say it's a motivation. I think the way I was raised, we were always raised to see gaps and to see opportunities for business. So from when I was in primary school, I would always have a side hustle. So I used to sell stuff in my parents' house that I thought they wouldn't notice is missing. I used to take food, convince... My parents are hoarders, so sometimes it takes a while for them to realize something is not where it should be, and by then I've made the money. Whether it was sweets, sometimes I used to make sandwiches, I even had service businesses, matchmaking. By the time I was like 12 in the school, I'll talk to the girl for you, and I'll talk to him for you, but you pay me the money. My brothers used to sell old phones, because with Simba Telecom, we'd always have old phones or broken phones at home, and they even used to forge receipts to give other kids, but they would get in trouble for things like that. So it's just something that we've always all had or done, because wherever you are with my dad, he'll tell you, do you see an opportunity here? Have you counted this? Have you noticed this? How much are they paying for that? Don't you think it would be cheaper this way? That's just how he is as a person. So from the time I was young, that's how I always have been. And by the time I was 26, I said, no more businesses. I'm tired. I'm a broken entrepreneur. I'm not starting any more businesses. I have to have ideas, and now I tell other people, you know, you work in this field, you should start this business because there's this gap in the market. Because it's too exhausting. You can only do so many. There's no one time in my life that I haven't had 4 or 5 different jobs, side hustles, ideas, businesses. You're consulting, you're on this board, you're helping this person. So you get overwhelmed, but I feel the urge, like the world needs this, so someone has to do it. But I have to make sure that someone is not always me because it's too much. So now the ones that I do, I really feel like I've talked to different people. No one is ready to do it, but I really think it can work. So I'm gonna figure out how to do it and make it work in my own way. It might take some time or it might not be perfect, but let's just start going and then maybe someone will pick up on it or copy it or do it. And my team gets very upset when we get copied and someone else like does what we're doing. I'm like, no guys, it's great. This is flattery, and also the market is so big. We're never going to run out of customers. Let them do it. The more people that are helped by this business idea, the better.
Yes, I wish all business owners could look at it like that. What motivated you, Uncle Mo, to get into content creation?
It's funny, content creation is what is looked at first, but there was the garage. Okay, I didn't even mention that I MC. It's funny, I don't even mention that.
And you act.
Because I act as well. You know, it's funny, I forgot MCing. I mean, MCing makes me about probably average 6 million a month. It's funny, I don't even mention it. But, so you can pick up.
Do you coach?
Yeah, so motivation, I want to go where Danzi started. You guys, I have a certain special fear of poverty. Let me tell you something about being broke. Like, if you're poor, like you can be in hospital and you're on life support, you know how much they pay per day? And then they ask your family, what should we do? And in that moment, I'm telling you, you don't want your family to be like, Mama Cafe. So for me, it has been, I don't know if anyone here has been broke. I've been broke. It's good to be broke. Poor is different. You know the difference between poor and broke? Poor is irreversible, like you can't come back. So I've been broke and it has been very, very depressing. So I was like, I have no choice. I can't be saying I'm not good enough. I can't be saying I did a video that wasn't good. I mean, I'm broke enough to start again until it is good. So that gave me the motivation to start, to keep doing it. But now, when we keep doing whatever we're doing, just gets you into the room. Then you ask yourself, why does Danzi earn this much and me I'm earning this? There's a time I met a guy, he was doing content. During lockdown, his channels were among the very vibrant channels. So I asked him, he did an ad for MTN. It was on TV. I said, man, so if I ever became like you and MTN came to me, how should I charge? That guy told me, if they ever came to you, his question was, who is doing what you're doing? I was like, right now, I think no one. He's like, so why do you want to charge like other people? So that day I discovered that, one, I should be motivated to start working because I need money in my pockets. Then I should be motivated to keep being different every day so that I can have the audacity to charge different. So that it can be meaningful to keep doing what I am doing at the level I want to keep doing it. So for me, the motivation has been, how can I win more every day? That helps me to develop. And really, how not to be broke just helped me to start.
Nice. Okay. So regarding time management, and I'll start with you, Doctor. You have so many side hustles. You have your primary job, and yes, you do have teams that run the side hustles, but at the end of the day, you're the vision bearer. And I know it can get quite a lot because you said you identify the opportunity and you feel it can work, so chances are high that it's working. So how do you manage to balance your time to prioritize the side hustles, but also effectively, working out all the tasks you're supposed to be working out at your main job?
I always think of time management with energy management because they're not the same, but they work together. So even if you're in the office for 12 hours, is it the most productive 12 hours? And you also have to look at your own natural rhythms and clock. When are you most productive? When are you supposed to do things that don't require all your brain power? When do you just need to be there? So different things like that. I think early on, I read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, and that kind of freed me from thinking I have to do everything myself all the time, because I'm a control freak. So I had to learn how to delegate things, automate things, learn to trust people, and get really organized. Because when you're doing so many things, it's easy for things to fall through the cracks. It's easy for you to forget things. When your main job is so demanding, your side hustle will now be asleep for 3 months because you're so busy, you're so tired, you're not even looking at it. But you lose momentum, which is why energy is such an important part of business. So you have to juggle and keep moving everything at the same time without dropping a ball. And one of the things that I used to sacrifice was my own health. So sleep was something, I think for 10 years, I would sleep at 3 or 4 a.m. and I'd have to be at the office at like 9 a.m. And I just accepted it. I was constantly tired, I looked terrible, and I started to keep getting sick, but I had to work. You have to keep going. Because by the time your job ends, you still have so much left to do. And my job, I'm in meetings a lot of the time, or you're in the field, so I am not reading my emails, I've not read reports, I don't know what people are asking for approvals of or to check. So the only time I would do that would be at night when it's quiet and no one is looking for me. And then I started working in hotels, and hotels are a whole other schedule because guests are eating breakfast from 5 a.m. and the whole day is busy, and by the time the last guest leaves the bar, it's 3 a.m. And then there's cashiers and balancing, so it's 4. So it's ridiculous. It's a 24-hour schedule. You can't be awake all the time. And I was living in the hotel because there was no point in living elsewhere and going anywhere for 2 hours every day. And I remember driving home one day at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, this is not even safe. I'm going to knock someone or myself because I'm tired. Just live in the hotel, don't leave the hotel. But these are the sacrifices I had started to make, and I realized it's not worth it. It's not ever going to be a day where there's not a million demands. One of my aunties told me, she works for the World Bank, and she had come to visit, and she said when she had her child when she was older, she was like 40. And she was so grateful to have that child, and she wanted to make time, but she was so used to working like me, like being a workaholic. And when she had her child, she had to start leaving the office at 5. And it was so hard for her, but she told her boss, I'm not a doctor. If something happens in the office, no one is going to die. I will deal with it tomorrow. And it's the most profound thing, and I still remind myself of that every day. Even when I'm walking out of my office today, there will be 20 different problems waiting for me. Someone is at the door waiting to stop me. I get to the car, madam, please. I'm like, guys, the problem will be there tomorrow. No one is going to die. I'm grateful I'm not a doctor. So I had to learn the hard way how to balance my time with boundaries. To just say no, have a cut-off time, go see your family, go see your friends, have a life, say no. Don't go to every single event, don't be in every single meeting. Learn to delegate these things, but it takes time. And also, that's why having a team that you trust is so important. To have people that understand you, understand the vision, they have their skills, their judgment that you trust and you can rely on. Even when I speak to the women who are in our groups and communities, a lot of them have side businesses where they have a shop or something that needs to be worked on with customer service during the day while they're at their jobs. You have to spend time with that person so that they are a representative of you. They're going to treat your customers well, they're going to be polite, they're going to follow up things on time. And then you build that trust, and that's what gives you the time to do other things. Because you have to think, what needs me specifically and what can be done by someone else. These days there's AI, a lot of things can be done online or automated. You set it up once, it does it. Takes some time to set it up, but once it's done, it's done. Takes some time to train someone, but once they're trained, and then that frees up your time. What needs only you, and what can you give up or delegate? And also, a lot of the things you just don't need in your life. Sometimes I'll say no to something, the world won't end. Like, it's all in our minds, like the pressure that you put yourself under. And I think the more you practice that and have your boundaries and know this is what my time is for, the smoother your life will be. Because people like to say, YOLO, life is short. Life is long. It's very long if you're going to treat yourself this way and you're going to have all these side hustles. Do you think you'll reach a point you're like, okay, I'm so rich, I'll never have a side hustle? No. Once you're used to doing it and doing that, you always have an idea or a business, you want more money or an opportunity. So you have to make things sustainable. And shifting my attitude really helped me with my time management.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. My name is Moses Chiboneka. I'm also known as Uncle Mo. I think that's where the side hustle part comes in. I'm an engineer in power and automotive engineering. I repair, because I'm a mechanic. I also do create digital content. I'm a digital content creator. So my primary hustle is repairing cars, and my side hustle is content creation. I just have a small problem with maybe my primary hustle. Because every time, like when I was coming, a friend called and was telling me he has a cousin who has refused to study, something like that. He's like, oh, my cousin, can I send him to your place and he first see what the world is about? I was like, what do people think that as mechanics? As in, there's a way people refer to what I do with, wait, do you also like do that stuff? I'm like, yeah. Like there's a way people look at it like I don't know what you guys think we do, but it's just the other stuff like all you guys, but for us we decided to fix cars, yes. Fix cars, and I do digital content.
Okay, interesting. You're the high-end one. He's the high-end. You're welcome, Natalie. Thank you for joining us. We are currently introducing ourselves, telling our audience what we do. Do you have a side hustle? If you do have a side hustle, what's the primary job? And what is the other one, the side hustle?
Sure, thanks for having me. My name is Dr. Natalie Bituture, and I work as the Chief of Staff for Simba Group. That's my main job. Simba Group has different businesses across different sectors like hospitality, telecom, energy, agriculture, education. So my job, I always say, is Chief of Problems. It's my job to move between each company, all the CEOs, the board, to make sure things are running smoothly. And in a business, there's no smooth day. So every day there's new problems, and I kind of have to go up and down dealing with that. So that's my main job that takes 90% of my time. And then my side hustles, I have several small businesses. One is the How Working Women's Platform, which we started during COVID. And it's a community of women where we come together to talk about business and careers. We have guest speakers, we have market days, we have online events as well, and it's grown to about 5,000 women over the last 2 years, and it's very engaging, so it gives me a lot of joy. This year we launched an online education platform called Ducata, where we have online trainings that are designed by Africans for Africans. So I got a lot of different coaches, professionals, consultants who have 10 years experience in their field, and they each made a short course that's affordable and self-paced. So as soon as you buy the course, you can immediately start doing it. And it's videos and worksheets so that people can have practical, useful skills, not just academic ones. And my first side hustle actually was Musana Carts, which is, we make solar-powered street food vending carts, and we work with Rolex vendors. So we do trainings for them as well in marketing and hygiene and customer service, and also give them the physical cart, which they pay back over time. So those three are my side hustles, which I try to make time for, as well as my business. And also there's overlap. So sometimes someone who works in one of the side hustles helps in the other, and they share office space and resources so that we sort of make it work.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to coming back to you with the next question of how you're able to balance all those. But let's first have him introduce himself and tell us his side hustle.
Good evening. My name is Danze Edwin John. My main hustle is, currently I'm the head of marketing at Next Media. It's one of the leading multimedia groups for East Africa. And also I'm a general manager for a comms agency called NextCom. It's been in existence since 2018. But we're just rebranding ourselves. We've been an advertising agency before, now we're a communications agency. I'll explain in case someone ever asks. So that's my main job. Yeah, my other job is I'm a father, that's full time. So, yeah, trust me, it takes a lot. So my side hustles. One of the few registered esports athletes in Uganda. I'm a gamer, that's the other name they call us. So I do esports, I compete competitively with a couple of other regions. So I'm one of 6 currently in the country. We're going to expand. I also do content distribution. Content distribution means I move content from platform to platform. So what the influencers do, I make sure it goes to other places in case they're part of my contract. So I do it for Deutsche Welle, I do it for BBC Africa, I do it for Voice of America. So I get their clips to move around on the Ugandan internet space. Lastly, I do a consultancy. The consultancy I do is in a registered company that I own with my wife. We do business or upskilling for existing businesses. We don't take them on as full-on businesses. We just give them consultancy and create jobs for other people that we recommend to take on the work full-time. Yeah. And then lastly, yeah, anything that comes, we work. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Thanks, Dan. So usually, I believe even in like the context of the word side hustle, there are usually additional jobs that are started for like people to supplement their income. But I see you have so many side hustles. Do you mind giving us an insight of what your motivation was?
You said you started with that.
No, you.
Anyway.
Because you also have quite a number of them.
Poverty. I fear poverty. That's the truth. Just give you background on how I am, where I am right now in terms of my main hustle is because as a hustler from the get-go. Our family has never been well off, but right now I'm making sure that we will be well off. So I do it for the entire family because I'm the first-born boy, but I'm the second last born after 5 girls. Yeah, so I've been groomed well by girls. You know, women are very hardworking. But as a hustler, I used to put up things like this at events, pull up banners, teardrops, etc. I used to work for Sylvia Ore, so that's the job I used to do. I used to just pull up banners, etc. Then, unfortunately, people lost their jobs, so I ended up doing the in-store job, whereby I was designing t-shirts and things like that. So basically, I just learned how to hustle from a hustler. Get it? So inevitably, I realized that almost every job I got from that was through hard work and merit. And it's very hard for you to detach that spirit of hustling from yourself, even if you have a desk job. It's quite difficult. So I'm not going to call it a drag. It's just something that you just keep on doing all the time. And again, I said I fear poverty. I just have to make sure that I have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. So in case one day I am unfortunately let go of at our next media, I know I have a backup plan. So that's really my motivation.
Yes. How about you, Doctor? What motivated you?
I wouldn't say it's a motivation. I think the way I was raised, we were always raised to see gaps and to see opportunities for business. So from when I was in primary school, I would always have a side hustle. So I used to sell stuff in my parents' house that I thought they wouldn't notice is missing. I used to take food, convince... My parents are hoarders, so sometimes it takes a while for them to realize something is not where it should be, and by then I've made the money. Whether it was sweets, sometimes I used to make sandwiches, I even had service businesses, matchmaking. By the time I was like 12 in the school, I'll talk to the girl for you, then I'll talk to him for you, but you pay me the money. My brothers used to sell old phones, because with Simba Telecom, we'd always have old phones or broken phones at home, and they even used to forge receipts to give other kids, but they would get in trouble for things like that. So it's just something that we've always all had or done, because wherever you are with my dad, he'll tell you, do you see an opportunity here? Have you counted this? Have you noticed this? How much are they paying for that? Don't you think it would be cheaper this way? That's just how he is as a person. So from the time I was young, that's how I always have been. And by the time I was 26, I said, no more businesses. I'm tired. I'm a broken entrepreneur. I'm not starting any more businesses. I have to have ideas, and now I tell other people, you know, you work in this field, you should start this business because there's this gap in the market. Because it's too exhausting. You can only do so many. There's no one time in my life that I haven't had 4 or 5 different jobs, side hustles, ideas, businesses. You're consulting, you're on this board, you're helping this person. So you get overwhelmed, but I feel the urge, like the world needs this, so someone has to do it. But I have to make sure that someone is not always me because it's too much. So now the ones that I do, I really feel like I've talked to different people. No one is ready to do it, but I really think it can work. So I'm gonna figure out how to do it and make it work in my own way. It might take some time or it might not be perfect, but let's just start going and then maybe someone will pick up on it or copy it or do it. And my team gets very upset when we get copied and someone else like does what we're doing. I'm like, no guys, it's great. This is flattery, and also the market is so big. We're never going to run out of customers. Let them do it. The more people that are helped by this business idea, the better.
Yes, I wish all business owners could look at it like that. What motivated you, Uncle Mo, to get into content creation?
It's funny, content creation is what is looked at first, but there was the garage. Okay, I didn't even mention that I MC. It's funny, I don't even mention that.
And you act.
Because I act as well. You know, it's funny, I forgot MCing. I mean, MCing makes me about probably average 6 million a month. It's funny, I don't even mention it. But, so you can pick up.
Do you coach?
That. Yeah, so motivation, I want to go where dancing started. You guys, I have a certain special fear of poverty. Let me tell you something about being broke. Like, if you're poor, like you can be in hospital and you're on life support, you know how much they pay per day? And then they ask your family, what should we do? And in that moment, I'm telling you, you don't want your family to be like, oh my cafe. So for me, it has been, I don't know if anyone here has been broke. I've been broke. It's good to be broke. Poor is different. You know the difference between poor and broke? Poor is irreversible, like you can't come back. So I've been broke and it has been very, very depressing. So I was like, I have no choice. I can't be saying I'm not good enough. I can't be saying I did a video that wasn't good. I mean, I'm broke enough to start again until it is good. So that gave me the motivation to start, to keep doing it. But now, when we keep doing whatever we're doing, just gets you into the room. Then you ask yourself, why does Danzi earn this much and me I'm earning this? The time I met a guy, he was doing content. During lockdown, his channels were among the very vibrant channels. So I asked him, he did an ad for MTN. It was on TV. I said, man, so if I ever became like you and MTN came to me, how should I charge? That guy told me, if they ever came to you, his question was, who is doing what you're doing? I was like, right now, I think no one. He's like, so why do you want to charge like other people? So that day I discovered that, one, I should be motivated to start working because I need money in my pockets. Then I should be motivated to keep being different every day so that I can have the audacity to charge different. So that it can be meaningful to keep doing what I am doing at the level I want to keep doing it. So for me, the motivation has been, how can I win more every day? That helps me to develop. And really, how not to be broke just helped me to start.
Nice. Okay. So regarding time management, and I'll start with you, Doctor. You have so many side hustles. You have your primary job, and yes, you do have teams that run the side hustles, but at the end of the day, you're the vision bearer. And I know it can get quite a lot because you said you identify the opportunity and you feel it can work, so chances are high that it's working. So how do you manage to balance your time to prioritize the side hustles, but also effectively, working out all the tasks you're supposed to be working out at your main job?
I always think of time management with energy management because they're not the same, but they work together. So even if you're in the office for 12 hours, is it the most productive 12 hours? And you also have to look at your own natural rhythms and clock. When are you most productive? When are you supposed to do things that don't require all your brain power? When you just need to be there? So different things like that. I think early on, I read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, and that kind of freed me from thinking I have to do everything myself all the time, because I'm a control freak. So I had to learn how to delegate things, automate things, learn to trust people, and get really organized. Because when you're doing so many things, it's easy for things to fall through the cracks. It's easy for you to forget things. When your main job is so demanding, your side hustle will now be asleep for 3 months because you're so busy, you're so tired, you're not even looking at it. But you lose momentum, which is why energy is such an important part of business. So you have to juggle and keep moving everything at the same time without dropping a ball. And one of the things that I used to sacrifice was my own health. So sleep was something, I think for 10 years, I would sleep at 3 or 4 a.m. and I'd have to be at the office at like 9 a.m. And I just accepted it. I was constantly tired, I looked terrible, and I started to keep getting sick, but I had to work. You have to keep going. Because by the time your job ends, you still have so much left to do. And my job, I'm in meetings a lot of the time, or you're in the field, so I am not reading my emails, I've not read reports, I don't know what people are asking for approvals of or to check. So the only time I would do that would be at night when it's quiet and no one is looking for me. And then I started working in hotels, and hotels are a whole other schedule because guests are eating breakfast from 5 a.m. and the whole day is busy, and by the time the last guest leaves the bar, it's 3 a.m. and then there's cashiers and balancing, so it's 4. So it's ridiculous. It's a 24-hour schedule. You can't be awake all the time. And I was living in the hotel, because there was no point in living elsewhere and going anywhere for 2 hours every day. And I remember driving home one day at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, this is not even safe. I'm going to knock someone or myself because I'm tired. Just live in the hotel, don't leave the hotel. But these are the sacrifices I had started to make, and I realized it's not worth it. It's not ever going to be a day where there's not a million demands. One of my aunties told me, she works for the World Bank, and she had come to visit, and she said when she had her child when she was older, she was like 40. And she was so grateful to have that child, and she wanted to make time, but she was so used to working like me, like being a workaholic. And when she had her child, she had to start leaving the office at 5. And it was so hard for her, but she told her boss, I'm not a doctor. If something happens in the office, no one is going to die. I will deal with it tomorrow. And it's the most profound thing, and I still remind myself of that every day. Even when I'm walking out of my office today, there will be 20 different problems waiting for me. Someone is at the door waiting to stop me. I get to the car, madam, please. I'm like, guys, the problem will be there tomorrow. No one is going to die. I'm grateful I'm not a doctor. So I had to learn the hard way how to balance my time with boundaries. To just say no, have a cut-off time, go see your family, go see your friends, have a life. Say no. Don't go to every single event. Don't be in every single meeting. Learn to delegate these things. But it takes time. And also, that's why having a team that you trust is so important. To have people that understand you, understand the vision, they have their skills, their judgment that you trust and you can rely on. Even when I speak to the women who are in our groups and communities, a lot of them have side businesses where they have a shop or something that needs to be worked on with customer service during the day while they're at their jobs. You have to spend time with that person so that they are a representative of you. They're going to treat your customers well, they're going to be polite, they're going to follow up things on time. And then you build that trust, and that's what gives you the time to do other things. Because you have to think, what needs me specifically and what can be done by someone else. These days there's AI, a lot of things can be done online or automated. You set it up once, it does it. Takes some time to set it up, but once it's done, it's done. Takes some time to train someone, but once they're trained, and then that frees up your time. What needs only you, and what can you give up or delegate? And also, a lot of the things you just don't need in your life. Sometimes I'll say no to something, the world won't end. Like, it's all in our minds, like the pressure that you put yourself under. And I think the more you practice that and have your boundaries and know this is what my time is for, the smoother your life will be. Because people like to say, YOLO, life is short. Life is long. It's very long if you're going to treat yourself this way and you're going to have all these side hustles. Do you think you'll reach a point you're like, okay, I'm so rich, I'll never have a side hustle? No. Once you're used to doing it and doing that, you always have an idea or a business, you want more money or an opportunity. So you have to make things sustainable. And shifting my attitude really helps me with my time management.
Yeah, and keep them. And those who are in the place of respecting other people's boundaries, please respect them. Thanks. How do you manage your time, Ganzi?
I've just recently recovered from serial procrastination and poor time management because of circumstances. So I was watching a TED talk one time about effective change, and it's something that the one thing that I picked out of all that is consistency and repeated habits. So I've been a very indisciplined student throughout my life in schools. I was in 6 schools in HSC. 6 in 2 years. Meaning, I never grasped discipline. And funny enough, my dad has been a principal, he has been a headmaster, my mom has been
That's
a teacher.
usually the trend.
Yeah, so I'm a very good canvas for you guys, by the way. But time has never been my thing. Like, I've always felt like the world had to revolve around me, especially if people needed a service from me. But that was very wrong. That was a very bad attitude. She's talked about attitude. And it's a thing that most times when people struggle with it, I tell them, it's going to be okay because you just need to do A, B, C, D for that to change. Now, I started working in advertising agency in 2014. They have these rules of time. They clock in, they do all this stuff. If the client has said you need to submit this speech by this time, you miss it, you lose the business. It's going to cost other people's livelihoods and things like that. So even in those environments, I was still never good at timekeeping or time management or that discipline. Fast forward 2017, I joined media. They put me on production sets. There's things like call time, whereby you're an hour on set before you even start shooting. You have to time your shows, manage your minutes, etc. Basically, I was taught the hard way in how to be a good timekeeper. Fast forward 2020, when the pandemic happens, when all of us thought the world had ended, all those things. So I decided to listen to one of my mentors, and they told me, try and use notifications on your phone. I have about 60 alarms on my phone. Now, I was talking to someone recently. I have this alarm of 8 a.m. that reads, wake up, you're late. The one of 8:30 a.m. saying, wake up, you're very, very late. The one of 9 a.m. saying, you chill, don't go to work, it's too late. Get it? But what that taught me is, looking at that in 2023 made me realize how much change I had gone through when it comes to time. Because I see these alarms when I'm already at office, because I'm in office by 7 a.m. Sharp. Get it? I drop my daughter, then I go to office at 7 a.m. I can't delete those alarms because they're a lesson I have to keep on teaching myself. It's nothing I take for granted. That small nudge that I used to give myself all the time allows you to manage time. Now at office, I have the right to tell people to manage time. You get it? I've been leading a team of 12 young people for the past 4 years, but I could never have the right to tell them, you're late. Don't hear. I had no right. And you know, young people are they're like sponges. They soak in the habits that you keep on showing them. So that's how I manage time. But the one thing that another smart man told me is, time is attractive. Time is a beautiful thing. Time is showing respect. Time is order. Time is also change. Once you treat time like that, you realize that there's nothing wrong with sitting in a meeting a few minutes before. Like you've heard us saying it. You just have to be there and wait. Other people will come and find you there, and they'll think that you're a very reliable person because they can trust you with their time. So that's my perception of time.
Okay. So he has talked about alarms. Are there any tools that you'd like to recommend to these young people that have, helped you in your journey with keeping time and managing time? Yeah.
I think I've tried every app in the world. I'm so bad with time. I have a bad perception of time. I actually read a study about this. Some people's brains don't develop when you're 5 years old, so your perception of time is like limited. You think 5 minutes have passed and 30 minutes have passed. So like, even today, I was late. I thought it was at 4. I'm rushing, I'm texting. Has it started? I'm coming. I'm 20 minutes away. She's like, no, it's actually at 5. I don't know if she told me that on purpose, because she knows. Then at 5, I'm late. I'm coming. Don't worry, it hasn't started. Every time you say that, I now do something completely else. I went to 2 different places, started other things, took care of different things. Now I'm in this meeting, completely lost track of time. Where are you? And that's the story of my life. I'm so bad with time. I have no right to ever tell anyone to keep time. And yet, I'm very blessed that everyone in my office are sticklers for time. So even the people who are junior to me harass me. You are late, where are you? All the time. So I've tried alarms. They always lie to me about things. Even my friends lie to me. The birthday is at 6. They tell everyone else at 8. And my whole family is like this, to the point where our friends have a nickname, better late than never. Because we will show up hours late for any party. And that one, I apologize. It's rude. It's terrible. And our parents are like this. And it's something that is a lifelong struggle that I commit to working on. If I ever find a solution, I will share.
Let us know. Okay, cool. We'll be waiting. So, I'm Tomo, you're emceeing, you're acting, you're fixing cars. How do you manage your time?
First of all, I really had no business keeping time. The only reason I keep time because I know other people won't keep it. So really, I just want to show off for something like that. It's nothing. I was the first person here. Even at Next Media, when they call me interviews and what, I'm always really,
I came before you.
I don't think.
I did.
Read.
So
you saw me already.
right.
Okay, yes. I came really, really early, way before 4. I was here. I usually come really. If I find that I may not make it at the time usually I want to arrive, I cancel. Just to protect my image that I didn't show up. She talked about being organized. It is something, it's a culture you keep cultivating with yourself. You won't learn it one day. It's going to take you over time. Actually, being organized is a lifestyle. You keep doing it for you to say, two things I want to echo from what you said. Be organized and multiply yourself. Everything you do, the hustle you do, whatever, all other small things about the side hustle or the main hustle you're doing, the truth is probably you're a professional, you're an architect and what, but you're not really good. That's the truth. You're not good at everything. So it's important for you to start discovering the part that you might be most passionate about or the thing that you're best at. Stick to that, then multiply yourself in the other areas where you're not very good, but you have very good eyes on how those other areas should perform. Now, how do you deal with that? Still, that's also a journey. Things you have to deal with over time. The biggest problem with the way people deal with side hustles, and the reason why they can't manage them or manage the time well, is because we forget a small thing. You guys, starting a side hustle should be you rewarding yourself for doing the primary hustle right. Let me say it again. After the primary hustle goes well, be very happy to now start a side hustle. This is not like relationships, manya, because this one has failed, let me start another one. Actually, I wish marriage was like that. You find a girl, you're like, you see your friend, she's happy, I don't know if you want to join. You know, that's how hustles should be. It is because you have mastered a certain set of disciplines and stuff about your primary hustle that you're like, you know what, I think I'm happy and ready to practice this somewhere else. Now, I know I'm not very good with moving up and about. So for me, my side hustles all happen in the same place. As I'm repairing cars, I am shooting a video. So it's easy. So what does that say to what you're doing and a side hustle you might want to pick up on? You can't be there. Okay, so many guys are doing it. Yeah, you have a job at NASA and you're farming in Kawanda. Some guys are doing it, but the truth is you're not as efficient as you think you are. If you can master multiplication of yourself, maybe, and by the way, that's a skill. The thing about delegation is a skill. These people who know how to delegate are semi-little demons that know how to threaten people. If you don't do this, I'll kill you, your parents, bitchy. So if you're not those people who can make people do things for you without you being there, forget. Delegators are ruthless people. They look nice and what? I'm telling you, I am here, guys are working. I tell jokes, those guys know we teeth and stuff, but when stuff goes bad at the garage, I am an animal. That's the truth. If you're not ready to be some of those things, wait. Plus, I realized that, okay, I MC as well, but that happens over the weekend. So I manage my clients. I tell them, I won't look at your car on Saturday. Oh, this day I'll be here or the other. So that I don't create a situation whereby the clients say I'm inefficient at what I do. But going back to the most important thing, when you just ask yourself how you're going to deal with the time, you're looking for shortcuts. The truth of the matter is, if you can first figure out how you've been dealing with the time on your primary hustle, you have mastered it. Now you can understand what moments and what ways you can do the other thing, and both are feeding off. The best way to do a side hustle is if both are feeding off each other, not by just the money, but even the skills. Yeah, that's the easiest way to be manning another hustle. So please, a side hustle is the reward to yourself that you've done the primary hustle right.
Well, thank you for just keep the mic. You mentioned something about when you're fixing cars, at that moment you're also shooting a video, but then you also said your side hustle should feed off from the primary hustle based on skills. But then I remember you also mentioned that you started with only fixing cars, and then over time you got into all these other side hustles. So we would like to know, at what point did you know that this is time for me? Did you know that you should reward yourself? Yeah, because you know the whole mechanic thing was going well. But also, how are you able to identify a viable side hustle based off of the skills that you had your interests also, but how available you are in terms of time commitment? How do you know that this is the thing I should do?
The truth is, your side hustle has always been waiting. It has always been there, but you think you are born to be certain other things, so you keep doing them. And I think I wouldn't have started doing digital content if COVID didn't happen. Probably I would have started much later, because I just started 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. So I started July 12th. I did my first video in 2020. So the thing about, if someone told you to walk 500 meters, no, if someone told you to move 500 meters, from here and 500 meters, you would walk there. Simple, yeah? But if someone is like, no, let them not be 500, let them be 2 kilometers, you would call a border. What's the lesson? That when there is hardship, for some reason we remember to improvise. Yeah, we remember to put another gear, like to do better. So, much as I don't wish you bad luck and bad things to happen to you, but I think bad things happening to us is the biggest thing, the biggest maker of people. So many people make more money right now because they became fathers. Yeah, because before you can eat a Rolex, but now, one Rolex, you have 2 kids, and their mother who is looking at you like, so you start looking at life differently. You're like, no, I can't get only 100,000, I need to find 1 million. And over time, you'll find more ways to get that 1 million. Now you're a millionaire. Because a certain set of hardships has pushed you there. Now, the two happen together. The reason why I say, you guys, your primary hustle is your training ground. You guys there was Radio and Weasel. Yeah? Radio and Weasel. So many of us used to wonder what Weasel does. But there is no time radio made a hit without Weasel. Your primary hustle, that stuff you studied, is Weasel. Your side hustle is radio. Exciting, people think it's what, money, it's paying you so much money, but the truth, I don't know, I actually live in the fear that one day I want to be the content creator I am. I'm like, man, this thing just came yesterday. You know, I believe in that thing of if something has taken this to come, it's going to take this to go out. But I believe that we should stay grounded in our primary hustle because it is the one that gave us everything without giving us enough money. Everyone thinks their primary hustle is not paying enough, but it's giving you so that you can do other things. That's it.
Wow. Natalie, how did you identify what the viable side hustles were for you? Your time availability and also your interests.
My side hustles are all very different, but also my work is very different. So it's not like I'm an engineer or an architect. Like I don't have a specific skill set per se. And also I'm used to being thrown into new industries, just do a lot of research, learn, ask people, figure it out. I think I'm just very action oriented. So I like jump into something and then you see how it goes. And all of them kind of started out by accident. Like I saw, okay, this makes sense. But I was pushed or COVID or a friend and just tried it and it grew. So, okay, now let's structure it and put a plan and a goal and make it happen. But I agree, my job is my base and my foundation. So all my skills, all my resources, my knowledge, my network comes from my job. And so my side hustles all sort of get to bounce off that, to start off that. They're not starting completely from scratch. Because even with Mosana, I was still in university when I started Mosana. And it was my network of my friends and my parents' friends who helped me to raise money online. It was the accountants at Simba Telecom who helped me to make the business plans and the projections because I didn't know how to do it. It was our lawyers at Simba who helped me to register the company. I wasn't even here. So I had to use what I already had to start and see where it can go. So to create that value, I think it was more of having a vision and an idea and then seeing what resources can I use or exploit, who can I ask for help, where can I turn, and create more from that, rather than waiting to save enough money, waiting to figure out the whole idea. Musana, we had to design entire carts with solar systems. None of us as engineers. We were all just on the phone with engineers. So if we put the wire here, then what do you do with this? What is AC and DC? Can we put a fridge? Can we do that? But you just try until it works. So I feel like that was just the risk that we took. And once I did that and realized life goes on, like you won't go to jail if something fails, it doesn't work, or something makes a mistake. We didn't kill anyone with a faulty cart. So just try. People will be forgiving. And you improve as you go. You know, like if iPhone had always waited for iPhone 10, we would not be on iPhone 10. You start with one, and then you improve, and then you get the next one, and you improve. And don't feel bad. Your customers will also, oh, okay, things are improving. You know, they'll go with you. Life, I think we have so much fear and pressure. Things have to be perfect, and that's what I used to be like. But after doing 1 business, 2 businesses, 5 businesses, you're like, just try. Help some people, great. It doesn't, you tried.
Oh, that's very, very, very insightful. I think for me, what I pick out of that is that just start. No matter what it is, just start. If you fail, you fail, but chances are high that you also won't fail. Yeah. How did you identify the viable side hustles for you to start?
I think I just picked like what Uncle Ma said. I picked the things that worked for me, and I knew I wouldn't fail at. I've taken many risks in the things that I like to do, because I'm a gamer. I've always been a gamer from like back in the day. But I did the math, and I'm like, I'm good at graphics design. I can also do TV already and all that stuff. But I won't be the best at doing that stuff. But the one thing that other people won't be better than me at doing will be gaming. And then I asked myself, but there are no professional gamers in the country. Let me actually do this thing. Because I see it everywhere else in other regions around the world. So I decided to actually say, you know what? Let me do something fun that I love, and it's going to pay me a lot of money. And trust me, I make a lot of money from gaming, streaming in other regions. It's something that will inevitably pick up here in Uganda. It's big in Kenya, South Africa, and everywhere else. So I looked out and I said, this is this one thing that will work for me. The other thing that I do is digital marketing. That's also this other one thing that I used to see people not really focus on a lot. Like in media, we call it the media landscape. They used to focus on TV, radio, billboards, print, things like that. I decided to focus on digital marketing because I knew the internet. I knew MTN was going to make bundles cheaper, Airtel was going to make bundles cheaper. So I focused on that media, and that's why I make a lot of money from the consultancies that I do. I try to help people on how to do their online stuff, strategies better. So that's my strategy. I chose to do things that I know I will not fail at, that won't bore me, that won't make me look fake. So I chose to stick in that line, and it's working for me at the moment.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I know we've all been talking about the side hustles we have, how we are able to, balance. Are there some challenges that you faced while running your side hustles, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, she's talked about it. Learning to trust people with your side hustle is very difficult, and he's talked about delegation. One of the biggest challenges I've faced has been understanding that your main job actually belongs to someone else if it's not your actual business. So there has to be that kind of respect. There has to be that kind of self-awareness that this human being actually chose you, put you in a certain position. They are investing themselves in you. They are growing you, they are paying you, they are doing all these things for you. And out of, I think it's humanity, that's the best word I can use. Out of respect and courtesy, you need to strike a balance and know that if you're supposed to clock in 9 to 5, you better clock in 9 to 5. Even if you fix in your side hustle during that time, make sure you're not hurting your main job. Because in a way, once you start treating your main job like that, it's going to become the same way you will treat your side hustle, and someone else you employ to do that will do. The other challenges are, of course, there's fear. There's always fear in trying, especially now me was trying something new like esports. There's always that fear that you're going to invest a lot of money in this thing and it's going to fail. inevitably, like so many other things have failed. But the truth is, like the two of them have said, if you just don't start it, you will never know. So you must go ahead and start. And then I guess lastly is the challenges I really did face were skills gaps, knowledge gaps, and things like that. So I know I really put in a shift when it comes to learning new things. By the time I was doing digital marketing, there were no courses at the universities for it. Meaning I had to buy a laptop, I had to sign up for courses at universities in the UK to try and understand what social media was, what email marketing was, what all this stuff was. So I had to invest that knowledge in myself and all these other things. So skills gaps, knowledge gaps, all those things are huge challenges when it comes to trying to do new stuff. I'm sure when he was doing digital content for the first time, he needed to understand what the algorithm of Twitter is. Those things are very important to understand. Billing for a creative is very, very difficult. Me as an advertiser, I like creatives who don't know how to bill. So you come, so you come and I'll give you the fee that fits within my budget. You get? So yeah, those are some of the challenges I faced.
Thanks for sharing. Any challenges you faced on this journey? How have you overcome them?
I think for me, the biggest challenge is the uncertainty. With a side hustle, it's new, you don't know what you're doing, you're figuring it out as you go. Yet when you compare it to like your job, which is like secure, everyone has a job description. You know you're going to get paid a salary. You know what are the goals of the company, the mission and the vision. But with a side hustle, every day is slightly different. Should we do this? Should we not do this? Should we try this? Should we not try this? Let's experiment. This worked, this didn't work. It's constant up and down. And I feel for me, that stresses me out a lot. I want it to work, and it takes time, then there's a setback, there's costs involved to everything. So it's like it's a roller coaster more than the average business, which is already hard. But for me, I feel like that's what the hardest part of side hustles are. And even every time I'm about to start another, now I'm like,
I want to go through that again.
are we sure you really, really want to do this? Because it's going to be so up and down. There's so much involved. It's other people, it's different partners, different licensing, different taxes, different problems, new things. Which new things can be exciting, but new things can also be challenging and scary and difficult. And it's going to take a while, like several years, before your side hustle is an established business that just runs smoothly, or like at least runs like a big business where the problems are more manageable. Like, you know, there's something, you know, oh, this is the problem, this is what we have to do. When it's a side hustle, this is the problem, what do we do? And you have to like figure that out in the moment. So I think the uncertainty is what stresses me the most.
There's something you've done to overcome those? Any advice you would want to give to people out here who are going through the same stress?
Always ask for help. That one really helps me. Mentors, friends, family, people who are even your competitors in the industry. Sometimes you just need to sit to someone and be like, but how did you do this? But why is it like this? How do we figure this out? I'm stuck. And it helps to balance that or to give you ideas, to support you. Someone has already fallen in that hole. They can tell you don't fall in the hole, it's there. So I think that's been the biggest help. And also research. So for every business or every challenge or every sector I work in, I spend so many hours reading, listening, watching videos to try and understand the industry better so that I can anticipate the problems or I can understand the judgment. Is this a lot? Is it little? Is it expensive? It's not expensive. Because if you have no idea, you also can't make an informed decision. So arming yourself with information has always helped to make things less rocky.
Uncle Mo, in the meantime, if you have any questions, we're going to take some questions that the panelists will answer before we get into the next section of the questions. So please prepare your questions. What are some challenges you faced while running your side hustles?
Challenges for me, I can maybe state it as the challenge of being human, just being a human being, just flesh and a few fluids. I burn out from time to time. I think last year I had about 2 or 3 times I was down sick and I would go to hospital and they tell me, just go home and sleep. Yeah, and they would find there's nothing wrong with me. Because you see, I do so much of the creating at night. During the day, I am doing the other work. So I've been having so many nights like hers of barely sleeping. My side hustle, last year, the side hustle alone, I think last year I made, on top of videos I do for my YouTube channel, I made content for 11 brands. And all were pressure brands. People who are, and people have a problem. Okay, sorry, I hope they're not. They're like, Uncle Moy, we're going to do this and do we agree? Okay, fine. Can you give us the video tomorrow? You see, for some reason, they know I have a certain shop I go, and I'm like, Mumpe Potiaza content. The truth is, I suffer from having to remind people that the truth is, much as I really want to feel like a god, I am not. Yeah, I'm just a human being. I'm really trying like everyone else. And over time, I get lucky or unlucky sometimes. So I burn out, that's one. The other thing, because like I said, I'm human, I get creative blocks so many times, and I don't know where the content is going to come from. I'm telling you, every time I get a contract to do digital comms for a brand, I am happy that time when they make the phone call. Can you work with us? But that whole time when I'm signing, I am sad. I'm like, there is a lot of work to do, and I don't even know where it's going to come from. So I suffer from creative blocks. But how I deal with that, I realize that I can get information from people. Like, for example, here we are talking. There's some random idea I got from as we spoke. So I try to interact, talk to people, get people on board to brainstorm with them my ideas so that they can make them even look better. There is nothing in saying I did this all alone. No, there's just a price for doing it right. And it's very good to work with teams. I've understood the power of working with other people, finding people who know what you're looking for. Every time I go out, I am listening to people. People have, actually, every time I'm in the bar, like after one, everyone has something to tell me. I don't know why, but then, Uncle Mo. Wait, no, like between 2 and 4, if I'm still in the bar, people are telling me things. But those things sometimes are very helpful. So I've given myself time to be listening more to people. I watch a lot of content. I realized I do content, so I watched every single content creator in the country that is in the top 10. There is no video they have done that I have not watched. I want to see why they're not being hired or why they're hired. I want to see why people are following what people are saying in the comments, what triggers people, I suck in a lot of content. So that gives me it calms me down. Like, it's okay. Okay, that okay part is when the content is not nice. But when the content is good, it gives me can you see what you're up against? Man, let's get work done. So I take in a lot of, it gives me a certain level of authority on what I am doing. When you walk in knowing, I know. You know, like if you buy this chair, then some guys like, there were those black chairs that were booked. You're like, no, I saw them. I chose this one. You know, that kind of thing. Like, I did my last content video I did like 3 days ago was doing some test kits for, and when I was being hired, oh God, I was talking about some other people they had hired, and the client was amazed that I knew everything that the people they had done and worked or not. I talked about a person's work. Everyone they had hired, they were like, okay, when do you want to start? So it gives me a certain level of to know that, man, you just like, we are all human. You'll get there. You'll do it right one day at a time. Just keep pushing. Just make sure you're better than yesterday. Done. So, yeah.
For me, that particular aspect actually always like confuses me regarding time management, because, and I feel like people don't talk about it enough, right? You're creating videos, you're doing your main job, you're emceeing, and then you're also watching other people's content. Like, how is that even possible?
You see, the algorithms are smart enough to keep throwing you the content when the content is good. So when they throw me some content by Jose Chakala, and I watch it, I go back to what they did, the last 10 videos that they have put
But you're
up.
going to spend like 3 hours doing that, right?
Yeah, and now that teaches me a bunch of things. I'm like, okay, I have to do this as I'm doing other things. So what problem am I having here? So for me to watch 3 videos by him, for me, someone would have watched 20 videos. So I have a way to make sure that my videos can be as short as possible, so that if there's someone who has the same manners as mine, there is more time for them to watch my content than to watch any other content creator's content if they're going above 3 minutes. So it is the thing that if you're in class, you can't tell your lecturer, man, I want to come and study today, we have things to do. No, I take that time as time of me educating myself. I can't say I don't have time to educate myself.
So do you actually be like, today,
No.
this is time for watching content?
It just comes. Like when you're having blocks and stuff is not moving,
Yeah, that's
dicing stuff. You're like, what's going on? During that time, by the way, one of the reasons why I have side hustles is every time I go around them, by the time I come back to the other one, I'm now fresh for it. It is a way for me to deal away with being tired of doing the same thing. Yeah.
Wow, that's so insightful. I hope if there are creatives in this room, you should be feeling inspired. Anyone has any questions before we move to the next segment? Someone help me move the mic. We'll take 6 questions. If you want to direct it to a particular panelist, please mention that. If it's open, let us know. And then we'll get into the last segment of the questions.
Good evening. My name is Frank Mutamba, student of computer science from Makere. My question goes to Edwin. I would love to know more about that gaming thing. Is it the PlayStation that you play? Is it okay? I just want to know because I love games a lot. I just want to know more about it and how it works and how best I can be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My question goes to Edwin. From Uncle Mo's statement, he said our primary jobs that we are doing are a training ground to enable us acquire all the skills that we shall apply in our side gigs. So the question is, at which point in life should you quit your primary job to focus entirely on your side gigs, side hustles that have grown? Thank you. Douglas.
Hello everyone, my name is Rachel. My question goes to Edwin and the lady. I have a challenge of fear. Yeah. So I come up with all these ideas in my head. I don't know how many they are. And I accomplish them in my head, but I don't actually actualize them because I'm always afraid of what if it doesn't work out. Like, I'm always very hesitant. So how do you overcome that fear? And I started recently selling honey, but each time I'm even speaking with the client, I'm shaking inside of me. Honey. Yeah. So each time I'm meeting a client or I'm talking to them about the honey, I'm literally shaking. I'm like, what if he doesn't buy? What if he buys? So how do you overcome that? How do you deal with the uncertainties? Yeah.
Drona Andrew Bibi is my name. I happen to be from Goldmine Finance, one of the sponsors today. Mine goes directly to Uncle Mo. When is the right time to believe that you should let Weasel go and stay the radio? Because as you realize, you reach a point when the side hustle is bringing in income, and what comes into your mind is like, what if I give my 100% to the radio? Wanted I get the breakthrough rather than still getting the grip on Weasel, yet when I try to be the radio, I can eventually prosper. Thank you.
Good evening, beautiful ladies and gentlemen. My names are Patience Rebecca Mutoni, and my question goes to all the panelists. So mine is more on mental wellness, right? Forgive me, moderator, if I'm skipping a bit ahead. But what I want to understand is, each of you has shared that you are doing these multiple commitments, right? You have places you're dedicating your strength, you are dedicating your mental health, like your mental strength as well. Mine is, how have you been able to do it? As an individual, I recently transitioned from primary being formal employment to my side hustle, which is in consumables, baked goods, right? I co-founded a bakery with my parents, and we're doing that now. So there is the struggle of, I left a stable something. I risked it all and came into this. And trust me, as you all know, the challenges you cannot expect it when you're making the jump. So what I want to understand is, how were you able to balance the two? Number one, being the personal commitments you have as an individual, and also the commitments that you have to your industries and your side hustles. How do you talked, okay, all of you spoke about it in the discussions we had earlier, but what routines or what tools or what form of escape did you get so that you are able to still come back and deliver at your best, still come back and push towards your vision, right? So that's what I would want to learn from each of you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Timothy Opio. My question still goes to all the panels. I have about 5, 6 talents, and all these talents is creativity. I write songs, I write rap music, I do fine art, I do comedy, and I'm a salesperson as well. I'm a student at Makerere doing mass communication and journalism. But I always have a big problem with this, that every time I want to be like, I'm going to start my side hustle, I have all these things planned, written down, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to start it. Immediately I finish this problem, then the next thing will have to be this. But things keep happening. Again, I'm done with this problem, another one happens, and I keep postponing my side hustle, and I've never started up to today. Yet I have the ideas, everything looks like, yeah, it will work out. I see the colors when it starts happening, but I never get to the point. And then secondly, when people tell me, man, yeah, you're good, I like this, I feel like they're just giving me a hype. I feel like maybe I should hear it from a stranger who has never seen me before. These are my friends, or something of that kind. In case any of you have ever had such, how would you deal with that?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to do this as fast as possible. Frank. Frank, you're wondering what esports is. So what is... think of sports that is not in the TV, but you're physically seeing it. That's what esports athletes do. So there's games like football, that's FIFA. There's games for Olympics. There's F1. There's tennis. There's rugby. All the sports that you see offline are on the virtual space. So what we do as esports athletes is we play them online competitively. So at the Olympics, the ones that are coming up this year and next, we're going to be competing representing Uganda. There is a section of people that are going to be playing behind monitors. So we'll either be playing Call of Duty, FIFA, anything of that sort. So we play it on PlayStations, we play it on PCs, or on mobile phones. In 2021, I worked with Activision, the official makers of Call of Duty, and Mountain Dew Global, to do a mobile Call of Duty activation in the country. They were stress testing whether it's possible to do a huge campaign locally in Uganda. Unfortunately, they were not because of our internet service providers. So an opportunity was lost. But we got a chance to act for the makers of this game to see Uganda, or to see us the gamers. Yeah, so that's what we do as esports athletes. Have I explained, right? So how do we earn? Now, these guys, I need to talk to these guys. I've seen some stuff that they're doing that's interesting. So I don't know if you've heard about a game called Fortnite and a couple of other games out there, but I'll explain. What we do is we play for points. Now, companies, like locally, I'm the Mountain Dew, I'm brand ambassador. They invest in us, like the way you'll see Mercedes investing in Lewis Hamilton. So they put money in us. I don't want to call it betting per se, but they put their bets on us. They put their investment on us to go and compete. So there's a thing that they call a prize pool that you can win at the end of that day. Now, how it works for sports is a team has 11 players, meaning the 11 gamers in Aguru, Kampala, wherever they are playing from their homes on a virtual football pitch. If we win the match, we progress to a final, we earn cash. Sometimes it's through sponsorship deals. Like every Saturday morning between 9 to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight, I have to wear a Mountain Dew top because of the contract that I have with Mountain Dew. You get, so they pay me for that, like they pay me for video content. Me, I'm paid for image rights, apparel, and things like that. So those are multiple avenues. Basically, what you see happening in the off-world happens in the virtual space as well. The other one that's really out of the blue is the things that are very simple, like simulator games, surgery, flying planes, driving buses, building cities for architecture and all those things. Gamers are paid to do that as well. Why? Because people want to see what multiple minds are out there that are going to give them this amazing city construction idea. So that's how we make money. It's something that's going to become big. It's huge in SA and Egypt. You get it? So don't sleep. Then Douglas, you asked when to quit your main job. Now I have a very different take on that, but this is my take. Unless they fire you, there's no need to quit. You get me? If you're very disciplined enough and you've applied the things that we've talked about, there's no need for you to leave your main job because there are so many risks right now. No one ever knew a pandemic would hit. Now, some companies didn't lay off people, other companies did. That was forced. So, all of us here are saying that this one thing, but we're just not saying the word. We're very adaptive. You get it? Human beings are built to survive. That one sperm made it and fertilized the egg. You guys have been competitive from the get-go. So it's in your DNA. You can't fight the chemistry that God designed us to be. You get it? So I don't advise you to quit your main job unless you're being abused and all those things. But try and hold on to it because, guys, if you learn how to have multitask, you're able to do these things together. Once it becomes competitive to your main job, I advise you to choose one of the two. You get it? So that's my take on that. Oh, I didn't get your name. Rachel. So Rachel, are you shy? You don't think you're shy? You think you have fear? Okay, so let me tell you something very embarrassing about myself. So in my primary school, don't worry, there's a picture out on Twitter about me. You've seen it. So in my primary school, my dad was the HM at KPS. So they used to hold the assembly at a very specific tree, and it was on a slope. As the HM son, I used to ride my bike because I didn't have to attend assembly. Get it? So I used to stand on guys. So I'd ride the bike from our home. I'd go around the school, so around the compound. Like I'd do it. I think I was just an idiot. So I used to just do it for fun. But imagine the entire school is right there, and I come and crash. It was so embarrassing. I fell, my pants ripped, and I hit a pole. And I blacked out, I got a concussion. Thank goodness there were no smartphones back in that day. But that was a very embarrassing moment. I will never forget it. The second one was my S3 Soch in Budo. It was the first time I was dancing with a girl. Yeah? So yes, what you've imagined happened. But you see, I've been through the worst, most horrible things. Now imagine you're selling honey. What's the worst that could happen? Them saying, I can't. I can't buy. That's the worst that could happen. You get me, eh? So, I decided that fear should control you. but it should not guide your footsteps. You get it? Fear to lose, fear not to make it, fear to be poor, fear to do all those things. Just don't allow fear to prevent you from actually selling your honey to someone. The last thing I want to tell you is, as creatives, I was a very shy person. I could never do what I'm doing, which is speaking. But I had this one rule that I am going to invest in self-expression. I used to get panic attacks. I was surrounded by, because back in the day in Budo, I was from the best communities out there. So I was surrounded by kids from royal families, kids from amazing schools, kids from very rich families, etc. So we used to call it oppression. But the good thing is I was a very skinny, funny guy that would always gel with everyone. So somehow I was accepted. But I used to get anxiety attacks every time I'm talking to someone. I would be intimidated. I had inferiority complex. But remember, there's a reason as to why you're still existing right now. You yourself, you're a very special human being. You've chosen to do that one thing. You need to believe in yourself and know that at no point in time are someone's words going to make you change or die. Unless, I don't know if juju is real, unless like they do that thing and like you disappear. So try your level best to always know or try to invest in self-expression. It's very, very important. When she asks if you have a question, ask. That's a step. You've taken one step. It helps to do that one thing. When they ask people to pray before meetings, be the one to pray. You know how weird it is to fail to pray? It's so weird. Eh? Prayer is so simple, but it's so weird. If they ask someone to give closing remarks, offer to do so. Those small things teach you to learn how to speak. Because if you know how to express yourself, you'll begin to be confident and have the audacity to tell a client, pay me 12 million shillings to do this content. Before you're going to be shy to do that. So try and take a bit of my advice. Know that the worst possible thing is your pants falling off. And you don't freak out. It's also normal to be afraid. And then, yes, Mutoni, mental health. My mantra is mental health. Good mental health is mental wealth. I have had depression as well. Yes, I've had it because of, I used to find it, in Luganda we call it Malala. You get it? There's this weird tweet I put out in 2012. One of my friends moved to SA after high school, and he used to post this sad stuff on Twitter all the time. Me and my boys would be like, man up, be serious, you're being a fake guy. Until it hit me that at some point I was also not comfortable with where I was. I didn't know that what depression was, but it's a thing that exists. So personally, good mental health is very good mental health. It's wealth. It allows you to have that psyche and energy all the time. You want to work, you want to do all these things. So the things I do to have that is I surround myself with people that encourage me. I also make sure that I do things. I have my guilty pleasures that I do. Nothing creepy, but I have my guilty pleasures and I reward myself. Every Friday, if you walked into Next Media right now, the marketing department, you'll find my entire team gaming. Guys are going to be drinking. Guys are going to be having fun. It makes me happy when I see that. So I make sure that they allow me to do that. They put for me a gaming room in my department. They put a small bar there for me because they understand the person they hired. You get it? So those are the small things I do to make sure that my mental health is in check. Then Timothy, the creative fine art salesperson student of mass comm, he has gone. You're here. So I have a video that I want you to go and watch on YouTube. It's called the Procrastination Monkey. I can't explain it, but when you watch it, it's fun, it's funny. You'll get the point that guy was making during that TED Talk. But remember what all of us have said here. You need to just start. And there's a thing called the imposter syndrome. Look, at office we have a rule. And because our CEO is one of my mentors still, he said, I will never tell you you're doing a great job until you've done it. So, before telling you you're doing a good thing, learn to accept it. Learn to take it, because most of them do mean it, if you have genuine friends. But if you don't, remember at the end of that day, the more you keep on doing, results show themselves. They somehow, like, look at Josh Baraka. That song had been out for a minute until people saw it and listened to it. It had been out for a while. Now, everyone has actually accepted that Onogai Mutemu. Get it? So watch that video. It's on TED Talks, Procrastination Monkey. It's going to be a very good video for you. Other questions for everyone. Let them now start answering also.
Thank you. Yeah, some gentlemen.
Okay, first of all, the gentleman from Gold Mine, I think. Things out of my mind all the time, and that keeps me alive when I've been able. The truth is, I'm into this for me, for influence. I want to make someone have a good day. Right? I want to tell stories. I want to tell you the Ugandan stories. I want to tell stories of brands that are doing. I mean, I talked about the brands I work with. I said, do you think they're the only brands that call? No, a number of them, but some people don't really have a story to tell. So for me, it's not even about the money. Okay, it is, but no. But the truth is, no. For me, it's about the fact I love to tell a good story. I love to tell, yeah, okay, that's the brand, that's the product, but what's the experience? That, for me, I'm in it for that. So, that keeps healing me when I'm having bad days, when I'm having situations going on in my life. So, and the other thing about dealing with routines, and I think maybe it also help you. You guys, every time you get into something, there's a thing I use that whenever you want to keep developing in what you're doing, I follow 3 steps. First, imitate, integrate, innovate. It's a thing that was used by jazz maestros. Like when guys were learning how to play jazz, they would tell them, if you want to be a great jazz player, first find the greatest jazz player you know, and start imitating who they are. How do they wake up? How do they kick the instrument? What things do they do? How do they kick off nerves? What do they do in breaks? How do they hold the instrument? Then from that, integrate those things into who you are. I mean, during that time you're discovering what you're not good at. It's a time where you discover your limits. Now, for me, where do I stop? What would I be able to do well? Over time, I mean, that's a point when people even start falling off. But when you realize, man, you have to see this through, it's what your passion is, and you now innovate a new sound from your limitations because you can't be the other guy, the new sound becomes art. I loved doing social commentary because I used to watch people do social commentary. I used to watch Jon Stewart, who was there on Daily Show before Trevor Noah. I used to watch Jay Leno. I used to enjoy Jay Leno. I used to enjoy guys on Saturday Night Live. The way they would be talking about stuff and they go into stuff happening in the press. And I was like, I want a show like this. I hope to one day do a show like this. I went to a TV station in Uganda here and I pitched the idea. Then things disappeared there. Then like 7 years passed, COVID happens. I'm like, you know what? Let me do my show. I even remember I went to, now I am telling you how I cultivate my systems. Now, I go to some guys, he has a nice office, has like a desk just like the thing they have at the Daily Show. I was like, I want to use the office on Sundays. I come, set up my cameras here, I'm in my suit, we start jazzing. So I tell him that, and he's like, Uncle Mogendo recorded the garage. This guy's a friend of mine, the photographer. I was like, Jules, that actually makes sense. So you see, my limitation became my sound. The fact that I failed to be Jay Leno, I failed to be Trevor Noah, I managed to be Moses Chiboneka. You see, so you look at it like that, because now finally I can say I'm now on my stage 3, the level of innovation, whereby some guy in Namibia is like, there's some mechanic guy. Actually, I had some guy from Kenya saying, there's some guy in Uganda, just need some M-Pesa, but he's good. We just need to M-Pesa him a bit. But but you see, my overall and what became the sound, my failure to become Saturday Night Live is what will make you. So if you can look through the things you're doing and you try to benchmark, I told you I watch a lot of content because I'm a content creator. Now you sell, how many pieces of honey have you sold? Yes. About 80 liters. 80 liters, that's very good. Because you know how many bees those are? Now 80 liters, I mean, I can't believe you're even still shy. My first 4 videos are probably the worst video. No, the scripts are good, but I look at myself and I'm like, eh. So I was trying something I had not done before. Every time you're starting something, you're doing something you've not done before. Why are you hard on yourself that you're supposed to be the best? Of course I was hard on myself, but what I can tell you, I kept going. That was me trying to push back on, that was not good. I have so many guys that are big in the media circuit who kept saying, this guy, nah. Actually, one of them had tried to do something similar. I was like, he tried that. Where will he get people to write for him? I was like, that's the problem. Because all I had was the writing. I hadn't figured out what I wanted to do, but I knew I could write that stuff. But it was all in my head. I could feel the lines in my head. I would see a situation like someone walks in there and I have 10 ways to describe your entry. But I just didn't know how to package that. And the packaging is going to take some bit of time. I just didn't have, you're going to accept that you're not going to start well. But you tell yourself that I'm going to do something that is worth failing at. Let it be worth failing at. You're saying you do a bunch of things. I haven't forgotten. Now, you're only going to be, she has done 80 liters. Is there anything of those things you're doing that is equivalent to 80 liters in quantity? What's that?
I managed to start one of the projects with one of the best producers here, Danny Andre, is ongoing.
That's what, music?
Yes.
How many tracks?
No, he's doing one, but I have like 6 tracks recorded.
Exactly. Now, in my opinion, it's not worth 80 liters. That's 6 tracks. That lady has shipped up enough honey to feed us and all our relatives. You see, you guys, your mother, because she took out your teeth, she didn't become a dentist. Dentists study, they open up shop, they do a... Have you watched any of my videos? When was the first time you watched the first video? Like last year. Now last year I had done about over 200 videos. So from the end of perspective, if you ever became a content creator, if you're very lucky, I'm going to hear about your first video after video 200. That's what I'm trying. So don't tell yourself that you're doing these things. No, those things you've done, let me tell you this. By the way, I love to sing. People don't mention that. I actually run a band. I sing. I've even recorded like 2 songs for fun. So compare, I'm not even talking about it because that's what you're doing. You're mentioning everything that you've done every time you walk around. You're like, wait, do you know what I did yesterday? No. Some guy told me to supply him 2 dozens of books and I brought, I think I'm a supplier. So you guys, let us realize, let us know that the truth is, it is crazy hard. And by the way, the things I'm asking you to do, no one does them. Hard work, people don't want to. So you just do the hard work. You know, Uganda is a good place. People here, there's a way you put it, we celebrate hard-working mediocres. Now, at least you work hard. The place is going to be there for you. You just, because people don't want to. Everyone is looking for shortcuts. You guys don't understand how much goes into even earning these plastic chairs. That's sitting in front here. It took so much. You have done so much to earn coming to sit in front here on plastic chairs. It is a lot, a bunch of things, you guys. Most of the work we have done will never even come out. I was trying to sell, and for him he says, he didn't get me because it was going to make money. I started doing content seriously at the point I realized probably it might not make money. Around my video number 17, I was trying to pitch to some petroleum company. I went to them, I'm like, man, guys, I'm doing some stuff. I'm a mechanic, so if you guys can put some of your oil in my video, and you guys scratch my back, I scratch you, like you scratch your own back. I realized that I'm not a salesman. I'm an actor. Let me stick to what I want. Because the way that guy talked to me, I realized there was not going to be money to be made. I was like, you know what? Probably the same way everyone is monkeying around on the internet, I will be another monkey. Let me just be a monkey. Let me just try to do better than the other fellow monkeys. So it is later, when I had given about the money, that someone finally called me to ask me to move something for their brand. It's written in the first no I made. It was very easy to make. I was like, I don't want that. And I asked for too much money so they can leave me alone. When you take care of the important things about your hustle, the money is going to take care of itself. If you're here to find ways to take care of the money, it is going to run away from you like they told you you're looking for it. It is going to disappear. The things we're talking about right now, but we are helping us develop who we are so that the money can find us attractive. Because right now, we don't look very good. Even us, we don't look, all of us have not, but at least some of us are starting to look better. Like this guy is CMO. This one is also another C. Just know it's also a chief. These guys are C's. So they're looking better in front of the money. You guys, don't look for the money. Let the money want you. Let me see if I've missed anything before I just start saying things. No, let me see.
Did you get some questions? All right. So as we conclude, the financial aspect is like really crucial in every establishment, but also it's also part of the primary reasons as to why we start the side hustle, right? Of course, there's fashion and identifying a problem, but at the end of the day, we're looking for the money. So when it comes to pricing, how do you manage it in your side hustles, especially pricing, invoicing, things like taxes you mentioned, there are new tax obligations every day. How have you been managing that, and what would be your advice to people here who are looking to start side hustles?
Speak on the enemy side, the advertiser. Maybe these guys would speak on the other end. But look, there's nothing sweeter than a content creator approaching you and they don't know how to bill. Because how it works in advertising is this. My client will give me a set budget. I'm supposed to work within that budget and keep a profit for my organization. But if you walk into my office without a red card, it's a win for me. If you walk into my office without portfolio, some idea of what you have done, musician, a link to your YouTube or something of that sort, again, you're giving me more chips when I'm playing. You're giving me more work to do. If you come to me and you are not expressive enough, you're not warm, all those things, it becomes very difficult for you. Because I'm going to listen to everything else, and then I'll say, so what's your ask? Every time, you've seen that meme of is it?
What client? What's your budget?
What's your budget?
What's your budget?
You've seen that meme. never allow yourselves to be in that place. Even if you have no rapport out there in the market or any street cred, there's always a price to something. Audacity is very good at some point. You need to have that audacity at some point. But also at the same time, there has to be a thin line between you having the right to ask for money for certain things. So try and do research, figure out what other people are asking for. And that's why I said he watches everyone else's videos. At next, I need to know who is competing with all my brands out there in the market. I must watch what they produce. I must see what their presenters are dressed like, all those things. So put that fact in mind very, very, very carefully, and also study the market. If you're going to do YouTube, if you're going to do videos on TikTok, if you're going to do things on Twitter, consider, when you're trying to build, consider how many people are following you, what is your actual reach, how many people do you influence, how many views do you have on your videos compared to everyone else there in the market. Those are just some small things that I would give you insight on. Personally, how I build when it comes to, say, I recently did some stuff for APSA, for their run. Now I do such things because the cause was for keeping girls in school. Me, I subscribe to that stuff. I say no to everything else because I probably just don't have the time, or I feel like they won't pay me enough. So what I do is, when it came to that situation, I love that they called in a timid way saying, can you do this thing? Oh, yeah, we can do this thing. Hey, so how much? Then I told them, what is your offer? Then they gave me their offer, and I managed to push it up. You can get to that place if you put everything else in check, especially for creatives. If you're going to be selling honey and all those things, man, remember at the end of the day, you did not use a wand and the honey came and the bottle made itself. Those costs exist. You must consider them. It's just a fair fact. The border fare, you have to consider all that stuff. What else are you going to, are you paying for yaka? All those things. If your product is good, guys are going to buy it. Yeah, put in some knowledge in marketing your stuff. It will allow you to get a good pricing here and there. So as advertisers, those are the things that I'm just giving you a heads up on, what they will expect when you come to me trying to tap into the budget, which I have to protect. Me, I'll make sure I ask those questions so that you end up asking for 50K and give it to you instantly and you go. So don't be the 50K influencers, be the guys earning 1 million plus. It's possible.
How do you handle pricing and taxes in your side hustle?
I think always I start with the business perspective. What are the costs? And look at the margins. So what does it actually cost us to create what we're creating? And then I also look at the value that we're providing and look at the competitors. What are the competitors charging, and try to understand why. But for my side hustles, one of the goals, because they're social businesses, is reach. So it's about trying to make it as affordable as possible for as many people as possible. So whenever we're trying to increase the prices because we want to make more money, I'm the one saying, must we increase the price? Because then you exclude a certain amount of people. You exclude these types of people. Certain people say it's too expensive. You have to kind of find the balance with the value you provide, because you can't just keep your prices low. There is a value to what you're doing and providing. But you also don't need to just put any number because, oh, it would be nice to earn this much money. So I think finding that balance between the technical side of costing and doing proper calculations on the costing, and also competitor pricing. And when you look at your competitors, not just at the price, you look at what justifies that price. So that you know where you fit in the spectrum of competitors, usually a competitor matrix. So you understand what each competitor is providing and why they are priced that way, and where you fit, what differentiates you. Why should someone pay more money to attend your event or for your product or for your service compared to the 10 other people who do the exact same thing as you technically in your industry? And then it's about your brand. And I think there's a lot of goodwill in branding, and especially with creatives, that's really what you're selling, your brand. So it's about the value that you know you can provide, and the audience your brand is going to bring, and the touch that your brand is going to bring. That's how you get paid for the specific things that you get paid, and that's how you get paid the big bucks.
We'll take 4 questions before we make our parting shots. So please, in case you have any questions, prepare them.
One, I believe that tax is the cost of doing business. If you're getting into any big business, I better plan for tax. But if you can delay as meaningfully possible, as long as possible, to ever have your team anywhere, delay it.
these statements are not going to mean anything to you. Till like 10 years from now, you'll be like, the man said. So, may you remember those words very well. When you work with reputable people these guys up here on the panel, they will help you pay things like withholding tax. So, yeah, that one, they won't wait for you, they'll take it from those ends. So, yeah, tax is cost of doing business. If you're going to get into business or big business, there's no shortcuts. How to build, I want to go by what you said, what's the cost of doing what I'm doing. I think I'm the only creator that doesn't seem to have an actual red card. But you, no. It's not like in stone, because I always ask, what do you want me to do? Yeah? Remember that you're not being paid because they have a job. No. You're being paid because you have a value, there's some bit of value to offer. So, hold your value in the hand and be like, what do you want me to do, so that you find where your value plugs in. Now you can pitch your value and they can pay for that, plus the cost of making your value delivered. That's how the body of how much you quote now comes to life. I think I was called up to do a gig at Skies for Valentine's. And I think we only failed to argue because now I was going to use more money to shoot at night. Because I wanted to do a video at the restaurant app. I think it was a simple idea. I was going to tell my girl I'm at the date with your mother was telling you I will never take you anywhere, but we're here in the skies. So it was going to be one of the best ideas I've ever made. But I tried to explain, but you see, and by the way, you have to learn to explain these things. Because I told him, it's going to be candlelit dinner, but you know that candle can't light for the camera. So we have to have special lighting and what. So I told them it's going to cost me a bit. Plus again, I don't know. Sorry to say this, I'm a bobo. So you have to have this conversation. You don't just walk into Dan's office and you say, I want 500,000. Why? So always stop, like the guy I told you about, the first guy I told you who told me, who else is doing what you're doing? Charge as you. Always discover what is special about you. What's that special thing? What's the show DNA? Like me, I can't be referred to as the guy who made the video of, no, the mechanic guy. Like I've made too many videos, I can't be referred to by a video. Like I can't be remembered by some song I did. You know? Like if I'm talking about people singing. So if you, in the space where you're moving like that, please remember, you have value. Coach yourself to give value. I've been watching something on Netflix called Arnold. It's a small 3-episode thing covering Arnold Schwarzenegger's time as an athlete, bodybuilding athlete, to him as an actor, then him as a politician. There's something he said that his father told him, whatever you do, be useful. Whatever you do, be useful. If I'm pitching something to dance, like I've just told you one of the things I pitched to Skies, they gave me an idea how they saw me plugging in, and I gave value. I told them I want to sell the experience, and for me when I come here, the experience is the sky view. I want to sell value. My last, I think, influencer video I did, I told the client, people should be able to say in my engagements that you can't just know. It should be a thing. Like I should make content whereby people can refer to it in normal life. And if I can pitch that to Danzi, the money I'm going to ask for, of course we shall fight and all, but he will know I am justified. I am going to make sure we work. I'm not just going to give him a video, I want to give him value. So from that end, now you can talk about money. The money will talk about itself if you can prove value. Don't prove your followers. I was working on a brand with 11 influencers. Some of the best names I've ever had. I wish I could, but these cameras. They fired I had the lowest followers on that list of those guys. They fired everyone. And I said, okay, I stayed on the gig with Azawi. Everyone else left. They have 300,000, 400,000 followers.
but they were looking for influence, who cared enough for people to engage with the content so that they can believe in it. Now people post on their statuses to UK something I did for a brand, and it is lifestyle. Actually, we want to go home Friday in the evening, we want to go out. So to UK became a little thing, even with my little followers. Value, guys. Forget that they're not giving us enough money. No, what are you giving them? So let us drop everything and just tag and just get our nails into getting as much value for our clients as much as possible. That's it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, please. Unfortunately, our time has been fast spent, so I'm going to take only one question, only one, and I'll let Dr. Natalie choose who should take the question from throwing you under the bus.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Charity, and I am from the hardworking women community. My question goes to both Uncle Mo and Danze. By the way, Danze, I'm a fellow Budonian, so when you spoke of Budo, I was like, okay, I have someone in the house, so... Oh, you're Budonian as well. Oh... Anyway, they've given me, my time is not so much, so I think we'll get together after and remember some of the things we used to experience at school. Anyway, so Uncle Mo, you talked about showing, proving to people that you have value. You know, your value will determine the amount of money that, you know, you're going to get for anything. I'm someone who likes being relevant. Like, I fight to show that the reason why I'm in that place. You get what I'm saying? I want to give someone a reason why they hired me, to stay relevant. And every morning I'm always asking myself, how do I stay relevant in the company? What should I do, you know, to give me that power? So I want you to just give me 2 ways on how someone can remain relevant, because I know the industry you're in, and 5 years from now, you don't know if people will be remembering Uncle Mo. You get it? Recently, we had alien skin, you know, trending in the whole country, but his time will reach and no one will remember who he is. So how can someone stay relevant?
My name is Paulina Kenya, and my question goes to Doctor. You talked about delegation. I'm Airbnb hospital, that's my business. So that side house, one main house, I don't know. Maybe one house is the main house and one is the side house, because I ain't only renting different places and furnishing them. Now, situations, my business is usually a night business, because right now I know someone wants a place. And there are days where I'm like, no, I ask a client, I can't delegate, it's probably late in the night, I can't get someone to help me. I instead ask the client, if it were you, what would you do? Because me, I'm done. So, delegation, probably I may not afford that other bit, because I'm literally just beginning, but it's not one. But then what would I do? What would you do as well? You cannot delegate.
Just to make it quick for you, that you're only as good as what you practice. If you want to stay relevant, which area do you want to be relevant? How do you want to then practice? You're only as good as what you practice. Be, as in, wake up every day to be flat out fantastic at what you do, until people just can't ignore you. That's it. There is no shortcut. There is no anyone you're going to bite and cheat and bribe. No. The people just have to get to a point where they're like, name, what is this guy saying? You know, that's it. That's all. Parting shots. Yeah, I think you see where I'm coming with this. You know, I don't want to lie to you about any quick ways to get around things. All I can say is dare to be, to work, to put in as many shifts as possible. I believe in putting in as many shifts as possible because that grows skills. And the other thing, remember that you can't do this alone. Believe in getting energies from other people. Believe in collaborating. My gig has been made possible because of my collaborations with people in production and stuff. Because I'm not good at those other things. I know what to expect, but I can't do what they do. So please remember to collaborate. And two, there's no other way. The best way to work smart is to work hard. Yeah. There's a saying that when you pretend to pay someone, they pretend to work for you. You've heard about. If you're good, there's no one you're going to lie to. If you're good at something, people will know. There's no lies you're going to tell. So just forget masquerading and just do it. And then do it a bunch of excellent times until people can write you off.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this panel. What was the question? If you can't delegate, girl, you gotta do it. Get out of your bed and do it. It's your business. Don't you care? You know how many times I've gotten out of bed at night to go and deal with something at work? The times they call me, no one cares if I'm asleep or if I'm tired, if I'm busy, I'm at a birthday, I'm at a wedding. Do it. It's your business. You have no one in the business. If it's too much for you, get a business partner. You share the revenue, you share the stress, you share everything together. But there's no alternative. There's no magic I can tell you. Sorry. Good luck. As a parting thing, I would just say, one of my favorite quotes is feel the fear and do it anyway. You're never gonna get to a point where you have no fear. As soon as you overcome one fear, the next big scary thing comes. And that shows that you're growing. You're just moving into bigger spaces. There's more pressure, there's more things you can be doing. And like he said, if you're doing the right thing, the opportunities will come. They will scare you because you think you're not ready for it. But say yes, be scared, but still do it. That's the thing with fear. You'll feel it, but it can't physically stop you. That's still you. So no matter how scared you are about what is going on, do it. It's like practicing a muscle. It will get better, you'll get stronger, things get easier until the next big thing comes and you're scared again. That never stops. So you get used to it and you'll keep growing.
This has been very insightful. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot. Every time I share, I learn. Actually, I learn more than I share. My parting shots be useful. It's very self-fulfilling, and also it keeps you relevant. The more useful you are, the more relevant you are. And then one thing I advocate for a lot, guys, manners make a man. Everything you post online will define you forever. So be those few people that are going to post the right things. It's not okay to hurt people with your posts. You know, you know how they say what hurt? Well, social media posts are horrific. Because they are going to stay there, they are going to be screenshot forever. So, alternative is, make someone's day. Encourage them, tell them a nice thing about them, like their post. There are guys you see, the post has one like. Be the second guy. Get it? Make their day. You're going to become very important to them. Because we are moving into the digital age. Your work is going to be seen to the digital age. Your bookings for your B&Bs are going to be online. So if you guys make the online space cleaner, it's going to be good for all of us in the long run. I always have to share that with people. Yeah, so don't be those guys who are always stressing guys online. Yeah.
Thank you.